Well, welcome aboard. We are in week 2 of our webinar series on 7 highly effective inductions for hypnotherapy. We're about ready to get started, but we'll give people another minute to join us and to sign into the chat room over here. Over here is the chat room, and you can say who you are and where you're from. It's always good to know who's here. And if at any time during this webinar you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer those. Now, some of you are not watching this during a real-time webcast, but instead you're watching this in our video on demand center at a later date. You can still ask us questions or ask me questions if you visit our forum on Facebook, which is icbchgroup.com. So if you just type in icbchgroup.com, that'll take you to our group on Facebook, and you can ask me any questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions there in the forum. Also, in our Facebook group, you'll see at the top a little tab called Files. Just click on that tab called Files, and I've actually posted some scripts from part 1, and I'm also going to post some additional scripts for you from part 2. So anyway, I'm really glad that you're here on subliminalscience.com. We have a lot of other great webinars coming up that can facilitate your learning of professional clinical hypnosis. So please check them out, and don't forget that an annual subscription is available so that you can pay one low price and watch all of our webinars each week for an entire year. Again, thanks for joining, and we'll get started in 1 minute. Well, hello, and welcome to part 2 of our webinar series, 7 highly effective inductions for professional hypnosis. I'm Richard Dongard, and I'm very happy that you've decided to tune in today. In the first part of this webinar, as you know, I covered 3 induction strategies that you will definitely find useful in your repertoire of induction strategies. Today, I'm going to cover 4 more. Actually, I'm going to cover more than 4 today, so you're going to leave here with more than 7 highly effective inductions. Just for some reason, people seem to like the number 7, and I didn't count it before I recorded the video. But my goal is to give you very practical information to do some demonstrations today. And some of you know my son Alex. He's been a demo subject in some of my other videos, and he's going to be here tonight to help me demonstrate these techniques. So again, I'm very happy that you've decided to participate. Please sign in over here in the chat box. If you have any questions, ask me any questions. I'm always more than happy to answer them or post them in our group on Facebook at icbchgroup.com. Now, as I begin to move into the subject today, I want to address really what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is spend a little bit of time talking about the sound system and why I use sound in hypnosis and how I use sound in hypnosis. A lot of people over the years have asked me questions about using a sound system, microphone, and headphones during the hypnotherapy process. With 99.9% of all of the clients who come in my door, I always use a sound system. They're always listening to my voice through headphones, and they're listening to music through headphones. What I'm going to do today is actually show you the equipment that I use, give you a list of parts, if you will, so that if you wanted to duplicate my sound system, you actually could. People say to me all the time, well, why would you use a sound system? You don't have to use that for hypnosis. You're absolutely correct. You don't have to do a lot of things in life. And one of the things you don't have to do in order to be a successful hypnotist is to use a sound system. But I promise you this, once you do use a sound system, you will never go back to doing hypnosis without a sound system. It simply makes what's already awesome even better. It's really the difference between, having a Mercedes-Benz and a Rolls-Royce. Both of them are top of the line. Both of them are incredibly awesome. But one is simply a little more luxurious and a little more comfortable than the other one, even though all of them are better than Pintos, Yugos, and Gremlins. And so using a sound system is certainly not a requirement. But let me share with you how this came about. When I left the world of professional psychotherapy, where I was doing traditional counseling, and began offering exclusively services for hypnosis, I had a guy come into my office. He was probably one of the first 5 or 6 clients I had. This was back in 2006. I've been doing hypnosis, by the way, I first learned clinical hypnosis 25 years ago when I was a grad student. I certainly used hypnosis with a lot of my clients within the context of traditional counseling. But in 2006, I opened up the Tulsa Hypnosis Center, and I devoted my practice exclusively to professional hypnosis, offering no psychotherapy, no traditional counseling services. And so here I was in my new office offering professional hypnosis services. And it was probably the 4th or 5th client to come see me. In fact, I actually ran into him not too long ago, so it was kind of fun to talk to him a little bit. Ran into him in a social setting, so it turned out pretty cool, and I got a chance to sort of ask him, and he said he continued to use the CD I gave him that day for many years afterwards to reinforce the principles that he had learned in that hypnosis session. It's always good to get that kind of feedback. But I remember in my session, my new office was on a major road, and of course, there was a parking lot separating my building from that major road, but nonetheless, it was still on a major road. And as I was having him relax in the chair, the honks were going off, the sirens from the ambulances and the fire trucks because the fire station was about a mile away, and all of these things, when I looked at this wonderful office, that weren't apparent to me were certainly apparent there. And people would actually pull up their car to go to other offices. They would use the parking space directly in front of my... I thought, oh, what a wonderful, beautiful window. But those cars would pull up. Somebody would pull up in a diesel dually, F-250 or F-350, if that's even a thing. And it would sit there and it would vibrate and make noise. And I remember working with this guy and giving him instructions to focus on my voice, to focus on the feelings, and to relax. And he was able to do that. And you can certainly incorporate those things into any hypnotic induction. I often say to clients, even with the headphones, and if we are disturbed by the UPS guy, or if we hear the life flight helicopter outside, those things won't disturb you. In fact, they'll simply help you recognize that you're exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to be doing, and will actually help you to relax even further. So we can incorporate that into our suggestions. That's perfectly okay. But it seems a lot easier to me to simply leave those things on the other side of the office door and to escape into a cocoon of sound and voice. And so I used the headphones. It was right after that client that I went out to try to pursue the equipment that I needed to be able to do two things. One, before this I was using and I had for years, I'd used a little $35 CD player that I'd purchased at Walmart. And I would play relaxing music while I did my induction. So I was looking for something that would play music but also let me speak to them through the headphones. And so I'm going to share with you, I've used a lot of different equipment over the years, but I'm going to share with you what I'm using now because it really is a particularly good setup. I'm then going to share with you a couple of induction strategies, including what really is probably one of the primary inductions that I use. In addition to the video that I posted in our group on Facebook on a tutorial for hypnotic induction, I also tend to use, in addition to that induction, a very Ericksonian, naturalistic non-induction. And I'm going to share that with you because I probably use that about as much as I really use any other induction strategy. Then I'm going to share with you a couple other inductions that are going to be very useful to you, including one that focuses on autogenic training. And then I'm going to share with you in the last part, the last half hour of today's webinar, some strategies, two specific strategies for doing inductions with children. Now this is actually kind of fun because you're going to see Alex today, and Alex today is 17, but you're going to see Alex when he was 11, when I originally recorded the last 30 minutes of today's webinar. Probably do the math here, I guess 6 years ago. The reason why I'm doing this, showing you a video that I made 6 years ago, is these are two highly effective and powerful inductions with children. And so instead of trying to find a child, I'm actually going to show you Alex when he was just a kid. So this will be one of those cute webinars where you get to see him as a young man practicing hypnosis here in the office. But then we're going to go to the Wayback Machine, and you're going to see me do two inductions with Alex when he was a kid that are tremendously useful strategies for doing hypnosis with children. So with that introduction as to what we're doing tonight, let's move over here to the comfortable furniture and take a look at the sound system I use in hypnotherapy. Here by my desk and sit over there giving my client, actually probably about 5 feet of space between me and them. I'm not really interested in invading my client's personal space, but so that you can see me and so that you can see our client, which today is Alex. Wave hi to everybody, Alex. I'm sitting right here at Alex's feet. And the first induction that I'm going to demonstrate is an autogenic induction. Now, I use the process of autogenic training, a suggestion for warmth and heaviness, a basic strategy for autogenic training, in almost all of my inductions, even if I don't go through the entire protocol or process of formal autogenic training. Now, some of you aren't familiar with autogenic training. Let me explain to you. Autogenic sounds fancy, but it's really not. Auto means myself, and genic means generate, so from within myself, I generate. And really, it's a meditative process. It was developed in the early 1930s by a German cardiologist. And he outlined the process for autogenic training about the same time that Edmund Jacobson outlined the process for progressive muscle relaxation. And there are a lot of overlaps between the two, and the two can be used together within even the context of the same session. I do that very often. But in today's induction, I'm going to focus specifically on autogenic training, having Alex create from within himself essentially hypnotic phenomena and experiences. Now, some of you have watched a stage hypnotist, and you've seen a stage hypnotist do a skit. Usually it's one of the first skits. And that stage hypnotist will have everyone imagine that they're on a beach, laying back in a chair, that they're feeling hot. It's 80 degrees in here, it's 90 degrees in here, it's 100 degrees in here. And you can literally see sometimes people on stage actually begin to sweat when they have the suggestion that it's getting hot. 100 degrees in here, 105 degrees in here, 108 degrees in here. It's so hot, you're at the beach, you're going to have to fan yourself. Now, why does a stage hypnotist do this? Because by manifesting hypnotic phenomena, perceptual changes, the audience who's watching a show goes, wow, that's amazing. Look, those people are really sweating. They're responding to a suggestion because it's only 72 degrees in the room. And the stage hypnotist will often then say, we're no longer at the beach. We're now, on a school bus, and it's, a cold winter evening, and the heater's broken, and it's getting cold in here. It's getting cold in here. Hug a buddy, you're going to have to stay warm. And, of course, these folks go instantly from hot to cold. So cold that they even will start to chatter their teeth. Now, this is fascinating, because chattering teeth, go ahead, try it right now while you watch this webinar. Try this, Alex. Try to make your teeth chatter. You can't do it. It's an automatic response to a state. But sometimes in stage hypnosis, you'll actually see folks on stage chattering their teeth in response to this suggestion. So we have a remarkable ability, and that remarkable ability is to generate from within ourselves, based on suggestion, perceptual changes. Well, autogenic training, the formal process of autogenic training, teaches a client how to do that. Why would we want to teach a client to do that? Well, we would want to teach our anger management clients that they have physical control over their emotions. We would want to teach a person with an eating disorder that they have the ability to regulate their own bodies. We would want to teach a person who has cancer that if they can generate feelings from within, they can generate wellness from within. There are all kinds of reasons to generate from within ourselves. But because it manifests hypnotic phenomena, it becomes a convincer. And the client says, wow, my hands really are getting warm. My hands really are getting heavy. And they say to themselves with the conscious mind, wow, that must mean I am being hypnotized. And as they go deeper into the process, letting themselves experience that phenomena, it becomes really a self-fulfilling prophecy where they enter into what's really a very deep state of trance. In addition to that, like I said, there are tremendous values in teaching this to clients. I think the reason why we do hypnotic induction is because it teaches skills to a client. And this induction teaches a person specific strategies. I'm going to go through the basic protocol of autogenic training with Alex. There are many elements and aspects and many different sensations and feelings that we could create. I'm going to deal with, for the purpose of induction here, a very basic set of suggestions for creating perceptual change or perceptual awareness. And for those who are interested in additional training in the subject of autogenic training, there are many resources available. I have a couple of videos on YouTube. In fact, we even have a course on subliminalscience.com that goes through all of the 8 weeks that Dr. Schultz outlined in his training protocol with his cardiac patients back in the 1930s. By the way, some of you will recognize this as being very similar to biofeedback. A lot of times when I do autogenic training with people, they say, is this like biofeedback? It is exactly like biofeedback. As a matter of fact, everything that we use today in modern biofeedback actually came from the work of Dr. Schultz in the field of autogenic training. So you'll certainly notice some parallels. So with that explanation of autogenic training, I'm going to go into an induction process with Alex. And again, I'm dispensing with pre-talk. I'm dispensing with those things because this is a demonstration of the induction process. And I've certainly covered that in other webinars, and you've certainly covered that in your hypnosis training. So now I'm going to demonstrate this induction as if I were working with a client, and I'm going to use the headphones. So Alex, on the back of the chair, you'll notice the headphones. And yeah, go ahead and pick them up, and you can put those headphones on. And when you put the headphones on, you should be able to hear my voice, and you should also be able to hear some background music. Can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I want to make sure it's comfortable for them, so I'm going to ask that. Is the volume level okay? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
It's not too loud, is it?
Nope.
Okay, awesome. Now, often, I'll actually wear one of the other sets of headphones so I can hear what they're hearing, and it doesn't confuse me. It works out actually a little bit better. So I generally do that with most of the clients who I'm working with. Also, and this is important, I just keep the CDs looping around and around. So no matter when a client comes in my office, whenever they pick up the headphones, the music is always already going. In fact, this particular model of the Voca Pro actually has a USB stick, and that's actually what I use with a number of different 50-minute MP3s on that memory stick. So no matter when you come in the office, 24 hours a day, it's on, and it's always playing music. So Alex, I know you've never experienced hypnosis before, but hypnosis, as you know, we've covered this here in the pre-talk, is a great way to learn some methods of pain control. You said that your shoulder's been really bothering you from carrying that heavy saxophone, I guess, during band camp or Quidditch or any of the other activities you do. And so in our session today, I'm going to give you some suggestions for pain control that are going to really help you to be able to feel a level of comfort again.